How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. Today we're talking about a little bit of mythology, the 10 most bizarre ghosts and demons from Japanese folklore. And before we get into it, remember to hit that subscribe button for more awesome creepy content just like this.
Yama-uba are old hags that reside in the mountains and forests of Japan. According to Japanese culture, there are a couple of ways that Yama-uba are created. In some cases, young women who have been accused of a crime or have dishonoured themselves or their family will hide in the woods or up in the mountains, where they gradually transform into the Yama-uba as they live their lives in exile. In other cases, elderly women were often removed from the home during times of famine or hardship. This was done in order to give the rest of the family a better chance of survival, with one less mouth to feed. Many of these old women found themselves abandoned in the forest, where they transformed into Yama-uba due to the unjust pain and suffering brought on them by their families abandoning them. Yama-uba live in lonely places, usually in huts or hovels by a road or path. If approached by a traveller, they will initially appear as a kindly old woman, offering shelter and food for the night. Once their guest has fallen asleep, Yama-uba will transform into a demonic witch-like hag and attempt to eat their guest. They're powerful magicians and use their magic to help subdue their unwary victims, so that they can eat them at their leisure. Mikoshi Nayudu, or anticipating priest, doesn't initially appear in a frightening form. He appears to the unwary as a wandering priest or monk, usually at intersections, bridges, or lonely roads late at night, when there aren't many travellers to bear witness or interfere with his devious plans. Once encountered, Mikoshi Nayudu grows incredibly tall with an extremely long neck. He also grows shaggy, wild hair and sharp claws. Individuals who encounter Mikoshi Nayudu normally don't survive the encounter. Often, if the traveller ignores this creature or attempts to walk around him, he'll attack them with bamboo branches and spears, killing his victim in order to devour him. Those who try and turn and run suffer the same fate. Individuals who try and stare down Mikoshi Nayudu will drop dead from fright. There's only one way to escape from Mikoshi Nayudu. When a person raises their eyes to look at the wild creature, he immediately begins to grow, causing his intended victim to raise their eyes. Because the growth of Mikoshi Nayudu is so rapid, his victim looks up so fast that they often fall backwards. Mikoshi Nayudu then attacks his victim, ripping at their throat with his teeth. If the traveller looks down at the creature's feet instead, however, his power will be drained, preventing him from attacking. Because the traveller has anticipated his trick, Mikoshi Nayudu will disappear in a rage, allowing the traveller to escape. In Japanese folklore, the Shinigami, or god of death or death spirits, are the equivalent to the Grim Reaper. They call human beings to their death, and it's thought that they actually possess some individuals and encourage them to commit suicide. While the Shinigami are similar in nature to the Grim Reaper, there are some attributes that are decidedly different. In Western belief systems, the Grim Reaper is often viewed as something to be feared, with the stigma of death seen as an end of existence and something unnatural. In Japanese culture, death is seen as a natural part of the life cycle. The Shinigami are seen as facilitators who make sure that events flow in a balanced cycle. Unlike the Grim Reaper, who is depicted as a single entity, the Shinigami typically work in pairs. While on the surface the Shinigami are considered to be beneficial, the Japanese still believe in taking precautions to avoid accidents and untimely deaths. Even today they perform rites to appease the Shinigami in order to avoid attracting negative attention from them. Gaki, or hungry ghosts, are typically individuals who have committed some sin or other transgression in life. As a result of this transgression, they're reborn in the form of a hungry spirit as karmic retribution. They're cursed with an intense craving from which they cannot escape. Often these cravings involve something unpleasant like feces, urine, or corpses, but sometimes their cravings include regular food and drink. Regardless of what it is they crave, Gaki never find nourishment from the items they seek. Often, when they attempt to eat, their chosen food will disappear or burst into flames. Or if they do manage to ingest something, they're still left feeling unfulfilled and have a continuing need to seek out sustenance. Gaki resemble humans in their appearance, but they have small mouths and throats, as well as rather large distended bellies. Gaki tend to inhabit dark and lonely places, and it's considered to be unsafe to walk about in these areas at nighttime. Buddhist rituals can be performed on behalf of the Gaki to help ease their suffering. Water, fruit and rice are placed on altars, and then the Gaki will be called on to come and eat. Prayers are then recited to ease their suffering. The living perform these rites in the hopes that if their ancestors have been reborn as Gaki, then their offerings and prayers will aid them so that their karmic debt that they've incurred will be more bearable, making it less likely that the Gaki will become restless or angry and haunt the living. As a precaution, many people will burn special incense and wear amulets as a form of protection against restless Gaki that have evil intent. Yuki Onna, or Snow Woman, is a strikingly beautiful woman with snowy white skin, long black hair, and dressed in a pure white kimono. She's not a well-known yokai, which is a class of supernatural monsters in most of Japan, but she is often mentioned in higher elevations where there is a good deal of snowfall. Yuki Onna glides over the snow like a ghost, but she's actually classified as a demon that is a danger to those that have the poor luck of encountering her. Yuki Onna is similar to the succubus, feeding on the life force of her victims. She often appears during heavy snowstorms and freezes her victims with icy breath. She then sucks the life essence from them, leaving behind an empty husk. Legends of Yuki Onna vary according to location. In some areas, she sometimes spares the life of her mortal victim, falling in love and even marrying them. In other locations, Yuki Onna only appears at specific times. Legends of the Iwate Prefecture say she appears during Little New Year's, which falls on the 15th of January, and then she leaves on the first day of February. Nopirabo, or the Faceless Monk, looks like a human being blending into society. This appearance is an illusion, however, for when this spirit is met face to face, it's quickly revealed that he has no face at all, without any features of any kind. The primary purpose of Nopirabo is scaring people. They wander around late at night. Quiet places like deserted roads are one of their favourite haunts. If approached initially, Nopirabo seems quite normal, but after a few moments the spirit will dramatically reveal its lack of facial features, usually with a quick swipe of a hand across the face. These creatures often work in teams to maximise their scare factor. As an individual runs away from the first spirit, he is sure to encounter another seemingly human individual who expresses concern, asking what's wrong. When the poor victim explains his plight, the new spirit responds with, "Oh, you mean like this?" and then quickly reveals its lack of facial features, sending the victim on the run once again. In some cases, these spirits will continue this game until the victim finally arrives home, where they'll discover a Nopirabo impersonating a friend or loved one as the finale of their haunting diversion. The Onryo, vengeful or wrathful spirit, are malevolent spirits whose sole purpose is vengeance and torment. Their souls are unable to move on due to strong feelings of hatred, anger, or other strong emotions. Instead, these ghosts are transformed into terrible, wrathful entities that seek vengeance and retribution on those that have the misfortune of encountering them. These spirits take the form that they had when they died, including any wounds or signs of illness that they displayed at the time of their death. The Onryo are incredibly toxic, cursing the building or ground that they haunt. If they've been wronged by another person while they're living, they're driven to exact revenge on that individual, but they often don't stop there. It's not uncommon for these spirits to continue to wreak havoc even after their vengeance has been achieved. At the least, an Onryo will not leave until its revenge has been met. In many cases, a Buddhist priest will be required to perform a rite that is similar to a Catholic exorcism in the hopes of putting the spirit to rest, but there's no guarantee that it'll work, especially if the Onryo has unfinished business. The Onryo are so well known that they've been featured in movies including The Grudge and The Ring. Tengu, or Heavenly Dog, are trickster mountain goblins with bird-like features that include wings and large beaks, or sometimes long noses. Some legends state that Tengu were once Buddhist priests, but due to their deceitful nature they've been transformed into mountain goblins as a form of retribution for their bad behaviour. As tricksters and troublemakers, the Tengus go out of their way to wreak havoc with the Buddhists. They play nasty tricks on Buddhist monks, burn down temples, and lure the devout from Buddhism whenever they can. While many of their pranks can seem relatively harmless, the Tengu have a darker side that involves the kidnapping of wayward children and sometimes even eating them. In order to avoid any trouble with the Tengu, locals make offerings to them and festivals are held in their honour. Food offerings and sake are particularly welcome, with offerings being given to them far from buildings and outside due to their propensity for starting fires. Honeona or Bone Woman appear to their victims as lovely young women. Even after death, these spirits retain memories of their one true love and return to them in an attractive guise that lulls their victims into a sense of complacency and welcome. Only those who have a strong faith in their religion or whose vision is not tainted by romance, love and emotion are able to see the Honeona as they truly are, rotting corpses often decomposed to little more than bones. The Honeona will rise from their graves and return to their victims night after night, only leaving with the rising sun. During the night, the Honeona couples with her true love, draining a bit of her lover's force in the process. This can go on for extended periods, days, weeks, and even months. Her victim grows progressively weaker, sickens, and eventually dies. What makes this situation particularly sad is that the Honeona doesn't even realise the harm they're causing their loved ones. Their only desire is to love in death as they did in life. Often a friend or relative has to intervene, revealing the illusion to the Honeona's lover. This doesn't stop the spirit from returning, however. She'll continue to visit night after night, and it's not uncommon for a victim to finally submit, giving their lives to the spirit of the woman they once loved. Charms and prayers can be used to protect the home from ghosts, but the head of the household has to have absolute conviction, firmly believing that the charms and prayers will work. Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at what is surely one of the strangest creatures from Japanese folklore, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be up to date with all our latest content. One of the more bizarre ghosts and demons of Japanese folklore is the Nurabatoke, or coated Buddha. These zombie-like creatures are very strange in appearance, with inky black sagging skin, a catfish tail located at the base of their spine, and eyes that dangle from the sockets. They also have a strong, foul odour that can permeate the area surrounding their location. The Nurabatoke crawl out of personal altars or shrines that have been left open after the sun sets. These altars, known as Butsudan, are supposed to be closed up at night time because they're viewed as a type of portal or gateway to the spirit world. An altar that's left open at night is an open invitation to numerous wandering spirits, but the Nurabatoke are the primary pests. The Nurabatoke are relatively harmless, causing more disruption than actual harm. They terrorize the families whose Butsudan they came from by flying around the rooms, lashing their tails about and pulling impish tricks, such as pinching and tripping and pulling the hair of individuals in the home. They can be repelled with salt, but it's better to close up the Butsudan at night and avoid any hassle that might arise from unwanted guests. Nurabatoke return to their Butsudan before the sun rises, but they never come out during the day. The only other time they'll come out is if the Butsudan is neglected. Then the Nurabatoke will come out at night even if the altar doors are closed, and will continue to do so until the state of the altar is put back in proper order.
Well, that's the end of another episode. Thank you so much for watching. Now be sure to leave a comment down below because I'm going to be giving away a lot of hearts and pinning one lucky comment. So let us know what you thought of this episode. Slap that upward facing thumb as usual. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew!